Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Life's Unfair, my Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous playthrough series. Today we are finishing up Act 1 for real this time. We just have the Succubus and Topaz Solutions left, and then it's on to the Grey Garrison. The Succubus took a long time to figure out. Because she has a few things that make her particularly annoying. So let's start with that. We're going to be speeding through this really quick. I'm going to be speeding through my failed attempts, and then moving on to the successful attempt. Starting now. So yeah, it's just it's a bit of intervening time. Head to the Topaz residence, then rest up. Head on in, and we figure, can't be that bad. She's level 9. We've taken out other level 9s. Vrok still isn't dead at this point, so he can't be added to that list. But we have taken out the guys at the Pataxian wine cellar. There's a level 9 in there that we have taken out. And we've taken out the Shadow Demon, things like that. So we're like coming in here with some confidence, but it's rough. It's terrible. I don't know how else to put it. She resists almost all damage. When you do land a hit, and you barely ever land a hit, she hits like a truck, and she has this really, really annoying habit of dropping aggro from the main tank and then just walking up to the rest of your party and just murdering them. In addition to that, the two people who are with her, right, those two entranced fighters, they are no joke. Like, they are a huge part of the problem here. In fact, I would say they're at least 50% of the problem, because they hit like trucks, and they hit harder than her, actually. They can one-shot my tank if they land a good hit. The Succubus can't really one-shot my tank, Razor Fiend. So between getting them down, right, if I'm lucky and happen to get them down, then I have to, I have to keep her focused on me long enough to get her down, and it's a nightmare. You can't start the fight off focusing. It isn't like you can ignore them and just start the fight off focusing the Succubus, because she will, because the entranced fighters will just kill you. So you have to focus them down first, which means that entire time, right, you have one other entranced fighter and the Succubus beating on you, and then she's getting ready to drop that aggro at any point. So it's a terrible fight. So what we do figure out is, initially we were going at it just nuts to butts, basically. No holds barred, based on what I had, and no knowledge, right? I was just going at it with the tools I had in my kit available to me. One of the problems, so aside from the fact that she drops aggro, aside from the two entranced fighters hitting like apt freight trains, she also mind controls one of my party members. And that isn't such a big deal, because she tended to target Woljif, and we could deal with that, and it lasts like 40 seconds, but it's just like one more thing that you have to deal with while tanking two entranced fighters that hit like fists like One Punch Man, and then the Succubus who also hits like a nuclear explosion, right? It's just too many things to take care of. So I'm like, okay, let's try and maybe alleviate, let's tackle these elements individually. And so one thing is, right, the ability to hit her. We need to be able to hit her, which means we need good aligned weapons, at least Lan, because he's basically all our damage. So Lan needs a good aligned weapon, and we need to avoid the mind control. So to avoid the mind control, you can use a potion or scroll or buff of resist evil and chaos. Resist evil and chaos, because she's chaotic evil. So it makes a huge difference. So I'm just buying this stuff up, and then we're going to head back to the Succubus and get in some more attempts and hopefully get her down. So after buying everything, yeah, it's time for another trip to the Topaz residence. Thankfully, we don't run into any random encounters on the way, and right, we're just buffing up. And yeah, we're going to make use of our protection from evil, protection from chaos. And another thing that we do here is we have Woljif loaded up with True Strike. We've replaced... So I was dumb. I was really dumb here. I actually replaced all of Woljif's spells with True Strike. That was a bit of a mistake because Woljif is an alchemist. So he has an ability called Infusion, which allows him to cast True Strike. Even though True Strike is a self-buff only, he can cast it on others. But he can only cast the True Strike from his alchemy tree on others, so not the one from his rogue tree. So I should not have replaced Grease with True Strike because those True Strikes are useless, right? I mean, I guess he could self-cast them. He does a good bit of damage, but I never really ended up using them. I just ended up casting them on Lan and saving, not really using the ones that he had. Because she changes targets, and so being up in melee is a real problem against her. So you can see I'm trying everything here. It's not working, and you can see the biggest issue here, right? I kind of have it down. Razor Fiend is not really dying here. If he survives the two entranced dudes, if he's able to tank them and survive them, then the issue, most of my attempts get me kind of here to this point, which you're seeing now. And right, I'm just pausing, hoping that we can down her, but either she kills Razor Fiend or she just switches off him and kills everyone else. And so I don't know how to get past that. I'm thinking, maybe some sort of CC, but she's very resistant to most things. So crowd control isn't really working. The best way to do it would be to block the doorway. Ideally, you'd want to get like Razor Fiend into that doorway and have him tank the two enemies and just kill her that way, right? So she cannot come out. But the problem with that is that would mean that Woljif would not be able to participate in the fight, the dog wouldn't be able to participate in the fight, they'd all be ranged, and you're kind of on a time crunch to kill these guys here, because they just do so much damage. So it isn't really an option for me to block the doorway, because we wouldn't kill these guys quick enough. They would kill... There, you saw how much damage they did to Razor Fiend there. With one single hit, took down half his health. So you need to maximize your damage in this phase. And I guess if you had a team comp that was all ranged and you had one tank, it would be amazing. Like, you would just be able to block the doorway, and this fight would be so easy. Just block the doorway. When the two entranced fighters die, just straight onto her, and she's stuck in the doorway. She can't get behind you, right? And then you just shoot her down. But unfortunately, my party is not built for that. So all we can do here, right, is try and take her down before she gets bored of Razor Fiend, and then goes and kills everyone else. So here you can see I'm casting True Strike on Lan. I've buffed up Lan, Grow Person, right? Grow Person's kind of pointless on him, because it's strength, but whatever. I'm just giving him all the damage buffs I can, casting his own buffs, his own self buffs as well, to ensure that he lands hits consistently. Obviously bless his weapon with good, so he can actually damage her, otherwise you do so little damage to her. And then just, I have Seal up there healing Razor Fiend, I have Razor Fiend healing himself, I have, I'm using Smite Evil to give myself a little bit of an edge, I'm using my own potions, cure moderate wounds, and Woljif, you can see, he's not really doing damage, he's not really up front, because I haven't blessed his weapon either. So it's, Lan is literally carrying this, in terms of damage at least, right? Woljif is he's relegated to buffing. Sela is relegated to healing. Camellia, she's pretty useless here, honestly. And Nenyo, if I remember correctly, she resists magic missile. She's immune to magic missile, so you can't really damage her that way. Most people are just buffing and keeping Razor Fiend alive. And so it's a pretty tense fight, right? She doesn't hit super hard, right? The entranced fighters actually hit a lot harder than she does. Almost double what she hits for. But we can't hit her either, right? Barely land any hits. and the hits that we do land are pretty small. So it's not a good fight. It's definitely a tough encounter. One of the harder ones, I would say, for this entire chapter. If I had to rank the encounters in terms of difficulty, I would say the Succubus is probably third. I'd say Vrock is probably the hardest fight in Act 1. The Cambion Alchemist is probably the second hardest fight in Act 1. Actually, the Cambion well, they're a toss-up, honestly. Between Vrock and the Cambion Alchemist, I'd say they're definitely the two top fights in Act 1. And then she's probably a close third. And then after her, kind of everybody else you can kind of beat using the tools that you have by default in Act 1, right? If you maximize your EXP, you kind of build reasonably, not no brain, but half a brain like I'm building, then you can see she's just switched. She's switched aggro right now. She's just chasing Camellia down. Look at this. This is actually insane. But she doesn't kill her critically. Look at her health, right? Look at her health. This is actually wild. Like going through, I still remember my mindset at this point. I was literally losing my shit here. Because I'm like, okay, she's literally just gonna kill my entire party. But we take her down, thank God. My God. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Who did that? Who did that? Razor Fiend, you fucking beast. I love you. I love me. What is this, cloak? What is this, a rapier? So after that, we just finish looting up the place, head on back for a brief respite, right? Do run into some random encounters on the way, which, still a bit of a challenge. The Stinking Cloud is a horrible spell, especially for my party, because we do have a lot of melee. And yeah. So after that, after all these random encounters, we do head on back to Defender's Heart, where we are finally able to rest for a bit, able to sell, have a brief chat with the storyteller, and then we head on back out again. This time, we are going to Topaz Solutions for round 2 with the Mimics. And so this time we fare a lot better, right? So just buffing up fully, making sure we have everything we need, and we're going for the Mimics on the side again. Instead of trying to go into the big room and pulling all 5 enemies, we're just focusing on the side dudes. And it's rough. They hit hard. They hit really, really hard. But thankfully they're not impossible to kill, right? They are level 10, but they do go down.
I'll watch your back.
Eventually, without too many complications. And you see that attempt here.
Oh, yes, what?
Right, so displacement is definitely a 100% requirement here because they land most of their hits. Otherwise, displacement gives you a nice 50% chance to dodge, which makes a huge difference here. But unlike the Succubus, right, they do take a good amount of damage. People can hit them. You don't require specific weapons or anything like that. It's kind of just down to luck, really. And this attempt, yeah, looks like I'm having good luck. Thankfully susceptible to magic missiles as well, right? That was 14 damage in a single magic missile cast. So this attempt is looking really good. Just gonna refresh displacement again. I still haven't bought the meta magic rod by this point, unfortunately. That would have been a big mistake. If I had moved Nenyo to that first place that I clicked, he would have pulled the enemy on the other side of the wall, and that would have been the end of this attempt. So, see that crack in the wall back there? You definitely don't want to position in front of that, because the enemy sees through it, and your own guys will shoot through it as well. So, the second this mimic goes down, you have to be very careful to move your party away from that wall, or they will just open on the guy behind the wall. And that actually happened to me once. I did kill ages ago. On my attempt ages ago, I did kill both mimics, and then we pulled the guys on the other side of the wall. And so instead of risking that, I'm like, okay guys, just everybody, let's just enter stealth. No more risk. let's stealth, and then move to that corner, and then once they put away their weapons, just save. And then we're good. Then we're set. And now, it is the guy on the other side of the wall. And he is insane. Definitely one of the two toughest fights in this whole act. Between this guy and Vrock. It is a toss-up between who's harder. I would say,
Are we ready to move out?
because I'd say this guy is actually harder, because even if you do successfully cheese this fight with the way that I'm going to, that is with Slumber, he's still really, really rough. But I'm gonna fast forward through this next bit here because it's just attempts on this dude here. So this encounter does turn out to be a ridiculously rough encounter. Initially, I'm not really wise to it, to the cheese strat. So I'm just trying it conventionally. That is pulling the enemy, trying to figure out some way to take down the Cambion Alchemist before the fight starts. Because if he is alive, and if he reaches your party, you're dead, right? There's nothing you can do. One, he targets the optimal person, so whoever's with more than one person is his target, and he just immediately throws a grenade at you, and you can barely ever hit him, right? He takes very little damage because he's level 10. When you do land a hit, it doesn't hit that hard, and you very rarely land a hit, and then he just AoEs down your whole group in 2 throws, which he just casts back to back. So I'm trying a few things here. Curse, Blind, Call Lightning. I'm just trying to figure out what spells I might use that might help me here. I'm looking through my weapon choices, everything, because this is really, other than Vrock at this point. So I still actually haven't downed Vrock yet. It's only after this that I down Vrock. So I decided to take Ember with me in this case, because I want to try out her kit here. Like an idea strikes me that seems like it might work. So the whole reason my strategy here works is because that hole in the wall exists. I'm sure that this is intentional game design by the developers. There's really no other reason for that hole in the wall to exist at all. So you can cast through it and you can shoot through it. So if your party did enough damage, technically, you could kill the guy in one volley. You could just shoot through it, kill the guy, and then focus on the mimics after that. But my party is not capable of that, right? Even if everyone landed crits, it ain't happening. So the alternative is coup de grace. So it's a spell that I've literally been sleeping on, because it requires you to put them to sleep. And Ember has a very good slumber. It's way better than any of the other sleep spells that I have access to. And it has a DC of 16 by default, but if you equip her with a charisma headpiece or you buff her charisma, you can raise that DC up to 17. So the thing is here, she has to put the guy to sleep, and then I have to get in there and coup de grace him. This is actually, it's pretty tough. Even knowing that, it's really tough, because the second you put him to sleep, the 2 mimics aggro, and they go straight for Ember. They don't go for Razor Fiend, they don't go for anyone else. So if I ran Razor Fiend in there to coup de grace him, they would just walk by him. Like, even though he was passing by really close to them, they would just walk by him, and then they would go straight to Ember and kill her, and then kill the rest of my party. So aggro management is really rough. And what ends up happening in most of these attempts is I end up tanking the 2 mimics. Like, when I do finally land asleep, right, I end up tanking the 2 mimics in the doorway. But what that means is that I have to kill the 2 mimics before I can get in there and attempt to coup de grace. And so this is it's a terrible fight, because A, you have to land a slumber, which is very unlikely, but thankfully you can just keep reloading. You know, you fail the slumber, it isn't like you have to go through the whole fight, you just reload immediately. So fine. You have to pass the slumber check. Then B, you have to kill the 2 mimics before he wakes up, because there is a time limit on that slumber. So you have a time limit on killing these mimics. So you have to kill the mimics before they kill you and before he wakes up. So either of those things can go wrong there. And then if you do successfully do all of that, then you have to land a coup de grace on him. And if the coup de grace fails, that's the whole attempt, right? If it just crits for half his health, he'll still kill your whole... Even if it crits for 90% of his health, he'll just kill your whole party in like 2 hits. So you have to kill him in 1 hit. It's just so many things have to go right. And this is all about positioning. As you can see here, I'm just trying different things. I'm trying to pull them into the room to CC them so someone can land a coup de grace. Initially, I'm trying with Camellia to land the coup de grace, but she's terrible at it. And what I figure out in the end is I can cast invisibility on Woljif, stealth on Woljif, and give him that signet that gives him 5 to whatever skill. I pick stealth. So he has +5, he has +20, and he has his own stealth. And then I run him to the back of the room, and then I start the fight. And then he's going to be the one to do the coup de grace. So now that removes 1 variable, right? I don't have to kill those. I don't have to worry about killing those chests. I just have to tank them. And Woljif has to succeed, which is what you're going to see here. Let's calculate the probability of this working, because we can calculate out 2 of them for sure. So let's look at this. So 1 in 5 for step 1, and then here, so 13, DC 22, so 9. So 9, it needs to roll a 9 or less, which is like a 50% chance. So let's just say 50%. So 1 in 5 chance, and then a 50% chance of working is 1 in 10 chance, right, of getting the 2, right? So 1 in 10 of my attempts are going to be good. But actually that's not necessarily true, because I restart the second I fail here, so that's not true. It is actually just 1 in 2, because you can tell I've kind of lost my mind a bit. I'm actually calculating out the probabilities, a little bit of a Leroy Jenkins moment, but I think I am actually right about those calculations. It is technically a 1 in 10, but honestly a 1 in 2, because if you fail the first one, you never really get to the second check. And so you can see here, right, the Mimic went straight for Ember, but I was able to prevent it from happening. Now it's just down to Woljif. He has to land the coup de grace, and then we have to take down the 2 Mimics, which is what we're hoping for here. So come on, we use everything. Ember actually does a good amount of damage, her Flame Arc spell, everything. She's a good character. Definitely regret not using her earlier. Coin flip. And okay, coin flip succeeded. Now we need to get Nenyo in there to cast displacement, because that is definitely running out pretty soon. Oh my god, they fell over. They both fell over. That is so lucky.
Survive me.
Come on, boys. Yeah, it's a pretty nerve-wracking experience, because 2 good hits from that Mimic can take out Razor Fiend. Thankfully, displacement gives me a 50% chance to dodge, but their default hit chance is pretty high, so yeah, it is basically a 50% chance for them to miss, really. And then sadly I fall down here. But my party is able to salvage the attempt and take down the Mimic. Come on. Oh my god, did Razor Fiend fall down? Oh my god. I've fallen and I can't get up. Someone call Life Alert. But nobody called Life Alert because it wasn't needed. The Razor Fiend was able to destroy the Mimic. without Life Alert's help.
Like this. Cast heal on yourself. Come on. Then you finish him. Finish him. Finish him. Yes. 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 Yes.
Let us press on.
Done and done. Holy crap. That. Oh my god, that was very lucky. I understand your fatigue, Ember. Thank you for your service. What do we get from all that? Some onion soup. Hell yeah. Or no, sorry, fish on a stick. Even better. Copy that. Let's read this. So we get... Okay, did we get any information out of that? Doesn't look like it. Any perception stuff to see around here?
March ahead.
No. Alright, we're out of here. That's it. Let's see what the crossbow is. Light crossbow of oracles. Ooh, +2.
That's basically going to be it from me today, guys. Thank you for joining me. A bit of a short episode today because that is the end of Act 1. Technically, Vrock came after this, but I did show him in my previous video, so I'm not going to show him again. And I do have a guide video out for how to complete him, but it's basically just put him to sleep and then destroy him with coup de grace. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me on this adventure in Act 1. Hopefully the Grey Garrison doesn't prove to be an insurmountable challenge and we are able to defeat the boss and then move on to Act 2. But that remains to be seen. I actually haven't, as of October 4th, I still haven't attempted the Grey Garrison. So I'm probably going to be trying that actually today and then moving on. See you in the next one.
And that's going to be it from me, boys and girls. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. And don't forget to hit that bell notification on your way out. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Razor Fiend, signing out.